Hi there. This is Olivier with One TDC Works So Well, and I'm super excited. I have a tremendous guest today, and it's so timely to actually have Cynthia Hornor, which is an incredible dog agility competitor with amazing dogs. And Cynthia, I'm so happy that you made the time because I want the audience to get to know you, but I'm gonna have to start by going into and congratulating you for your incredible success at Westminster. So welcome and absolutely congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It was a wonderful Saturday night back in New York with Nimble. She definitely wowed that New York crowd.
She sure did. I mean, I was just telling you earlier before we started, I said I was looking at the video and it was on TV. It's a big event. I mean, Westminster Dog Agility Championship is a big deal. And I thought it was accelerated. It was so fast. So you have to tell the audience the exact title that you receive with Nimble. We need to know everything about Nimble, everything about you, but what you did. Tell us about Westminster and this incredible accomplishment that you and Nimble did.
Well, Nimble is a wonderful dog, and I really enjoy showing my dogs at Westminster. I went to the very original Westminster Championship, which I think was 11 years ago, because I think Nimble
Wow.
won the 11th annual one. And I showed my dog Spice in the very first one, and she won both preliminary rounds, and we got to go to finals that first year. And I just really loved the experience. And then for a few years, for different reasons, timing and different things, I didn't get to go back to Westminster. About 3 years ago, I took Spice's son Truant, and the very first year, I think we had a fault, so we didn't actually make finals. And then I took him back the year after, and he actually did make finals, and he won the 20-inch class, but he did not win overall. B did that year. So then in 2023, I went back with him. He won again the 20-inch class, and this time he did win overall. So it was a wonderful experience with him, helping me probably prepare for Nimble. And then this year took Nimble, and she got to go to finals, and she made the historic she was able to make the historic part of winning it as the 12-inch dog, because it is very hard for the small dogs to have a higher yards per second than the 20-inch dog. So not only did she do it as a 12-inch dog, but she also did it as the first All-American. So, and
That's
she's
insane.
exciting to watch. So her video has gone a bit viral. And
That's
I now joke to my family that Nimble needs a press secretary.
well, I mean, that's important for the audience to know this because not only did you win your class 12 inch, but like you said, all the dogs compete of all the classes based on the speed per and say that again so we get that correctly.
Yards per second. So they
Yards per
enter the
second.
course and they find out how many yards are, and the yards for a small dog is going to be different than the yards for a big dog. So usually the big dog path is bigger, theoretically, so they have more yards. So therefore, when you take their time that they finish the course in and do the yards per second based on the yards that the path should be, the bigger dogs get a slight advantage over the small dogs for sure.
I think this has never been done before. I don't think I've ever seen a 12 incher win the overall.
No, it never has. There's only been in the 11 dogs that have won it every year, except for 2 years and now 3 years, it has been won by the 20-inch dog.
That's right.
So Jen Crank won it one year with B, Jen Crank won it one year with Pink at
Pink.
16, and then Nimble at 12 this year. So Nimble's the
Wow.
first one with the 12, and it's almost harder for a 12-inch dog because the 16 yards per second will be a little closer to the 20-inch dog than the 12-inch
Well,
dog.
yeah, that's incredible. Okay, so now we need to know more about you. So tell me about how did you get into dog agility? How long have you been doing it? And how much of your life is dog agility?
Probably a great deal. I started over 20 years now, so I've been in the sport of dog agility for many years, and can have a great history on it. Since I remember when I first started, the AKC actually didn't even have a jumpers with weaves class. So it
Wow.
has come, yeah, I've been in it for a very long time. I grew up in a family. My mother raised German short hair pointers and she did field trials with them. So I grew up in a competitive dog family all my life. I also rode horses and hunters and jumpers growing up. So when I got married, got my first Shetland sheepdog, and I knew I wanted to socialize it because Shelties definitely need socialization as puppies. And I happened to wander and fall on an outdoor agility trial. So I took my dog and I watched it, and I was in awe and I fell in love immediately. So of course I signed the puppy up, when he was old enough for beginning agility classes. And I think that was like back in 1998. So it's
Uh,
been a really long time.
I've seen you every time I go to a competition and we're there taking pictures or promoting one TDC, you always end up on that podium. Virtually every time I see this, that's a given. Cynthia's going to be up there. So we have to know about, what does it take to get there? I mean, obviously this didn't happen overnight. How did you get to that level of competition? I mean, that's pretty incredible. And like I said, I'm not joking. Every time I see you in events, like Cynthia's up there on the podium.
Well, I think it takes a good bond with your dogs, really enjoying working with them. I love training dogs. I love training my dogs. I love spending time with them. So I try to make sure my dogs are as prepared as they can be for any competition, whether it's physically or mentally or just their training. So I love doing that with them, and I think that certainly helps be successful. I also feel like luckily, and I don't know exactly why, but my timing is fairly good as a handler. So that always is helpful, that if I can convey the information that my dog needs in a timely manner, then they should be able to understand the cues I'm giving them. And I think that helps to be successful also.
So I want to unpack that just a little bit because
Sure.
one thing I've noticed about you in competition, you always look very focused and almost like in your zone.
Mhm.
So I'm going to venture to say that this doesn't happen by accident. Is there anything that you specifically do to get in what I would call, and maybe that's the outside appearance. I don't know what's going through in your mind, but I can say that like whenever it's used, like it's almost like the world can be going, whatever's going on, your game is on. So how do you get to that state? And is there anything you could advise others to be on that journey as well? Because it's a big time, it's a mental game.
So when I go, especially to a finals or a big round, I think because I realize at the end of the day, and I like to tell my students and different people that you're not going to win every single one. It really is dogs jumping over PVC. So just enjoy the moment that you have with your dog. Don't put undue pressure. Not that you should not feel any pressure, because I think a little bit of pressure is good, but you want to be able to go out, calmly, knowing that you can handle the pressure and just do the best you can. Because at the end of the day, I think that's the only thing you can do is do your best. When I go out, I don't find myself overly nervous. It's more like I can't wait to go have fun with my dog
Wow.
on any of the finals runs. But I also think it helps that I grew up showing horses, so you already have sort of that mindset of just process oriented. Go show the dog the course, go give your cues, and then hopefully everything goes the way you want it to go. I also have played competitive tennis probably since I don't know, probably 15, 20 years also. So that also helps because in the middle of the game, it helps you relax and understand that in any sport, it helps you be competitive and be prepared to do your best and not get too nervous. Just to understand you're out there to go do what you can do and enjoy it, really at the end of the day.
So there's a
Well,
lot of experience.
and I'll add to it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. I don't feel very nervous going to Westminster finals or even NAC finals or challengers round at NAC, which I ended up running in this year. But there are certain courses that will make me a little more probably not nervous, but a little bit more like, oh, there's a little more pressure. Those would be team runs in international competitions. But the more you do them, then you find out, oh, well, those local trials really are easy. So it's the more you experience and have experience doing it, the easier the mental game becomes. And I have worked on my mental game I do revisit some things on it, but I feel like it has always been very strong. I'm a competitor at heart, so I'm just going to go try to attack any course I run and do my best and push my dog to see what we can do.
Yeah, I could see that in you, that competitor, but it's like you're quiet about it, but you're focused. I want to unpack the second part about timing. You mentioned that a lot of your success that you would attest is your ability to have really good timing with the course and with your dog. Is there anything specific on that that you can share? Any drills or anything that you do to get to that level where you do have good timing?
Sure. So I think a little bit of timing, as in any sport, some of it is just there a little bit. Your hand-eye coordination and all of those things certainly does help. But I also believe I've help myself by working with a personal trainer to be able
Mhm.
to just, be able to pivot and get out of things and move better. So that is also very, very helpful. I know that when I walk a course, not only am I thinking about what handling maneuvers I may want to choose for my dog to help them understand where to go on course the best, but I also will practice the timing of when I'm going to say my verbals, versus when I'm going to give myself a visual point so I can lead my dog as early as possible. So I'll do that all on my walkthrough to help also. And I will look back. A lot of people look back at videos to help critique their performance. I'll look back for a couple different things. Was my timing good at telling my dog? Did I leave and tell them the earliest part possible? I also
Mhm.
will go and I will look back. Did my dog have to head check me at all? Or did they always know where they were going and basically what their job was? The
Mhm.
answer is yes, then I was pretty good. And we're always trying to get better as handlers. And Nimble definitely makes me a better handler because if I am late at all on anything, we will usually E with her speed. She does not wait for me.
You have to keep up or be ahead. No, that's wonderful. So thank you for those. Those are, I think, really, really good insights. And I'm sure the audience will really appreciate that. And thank you for being so transparent about it and sharing some of your techniques. Um, I want to ask you about Nimble. Tell us, how old is Nimble? What's Nimble's history? It's obviously a very special dog with a very special trainer, but tell us a little bit about her journey. Where did she come from?
So Nimble came from Breezy Blue, Jinsey St. Croix bred her. And I was just lucky enough. I always wanted her as a puppy, and Jinsey, I wore her down. I like to tell Jinsey, I wore you down, and she let me have her. And so I've adored her from day one, the first day I brought her back home. She's just been a super good dog. She was not necessarily the easiest dog to train that I've had, through a lot of different reasons. But we have always had just such a strong bond. She is an amazingly fast dog. She demands people to be perfect. She's never going to save you necessarily on course as other dogs may.
Hmm.
But I get immense thrill when things do go right. We can also have courses where it doesn't go our way through whatever reason, and we're still learning together on our journey. She just turned 6. She has been now on, I believe, the WAO team twice. I didn't try out last year, but she was on last year's team and the year before. And I think she was 4th in snooker and got to go to Gamblers finals last year. Uh, 2 years ago, it didn't work out so well. We got there and I developed COVID, so I actually couldn't compete and had to stay in my hotel room and watch everybody else, which was a little sad. Um, she made the EO team last year, and while we were over at EO, she won team jumpers. So
Wow.
that was a pretty impressive feat to me for her. And we look forward to going back this year to England, and hopefully we are working our hardest to be prepared and ready. I would love her to make individual finals at EO.
That'd
That
be
is sort
great.
of my ultimate goal, is to make that final. So I have been practicing, preparing as much. And I actually think the Westminster finals helps with that too, because there's a lot
Mhm.
of crowd. It's putting yourself in those pressure situations. So I think that is part of my prep. But we have done well in a lot of different organizations. We have been on the podium many, many times at the US Open. She's won Master Series. She has won games. She has won biathlon there. We have won in USDA Senior Sports. We've won Grand Prix. We've won steeplechase. We have won AKC Nationals in 2023. This year we had a barn jumper, so we had to go to challengers, and unfortunately I had a bar there also. But we have done a lot of the big events and done quite well at them, and we're still learning and improving. So I'm hoping that we can do well in the international event this summer.
I think you will. And I think the USA overall has been doing a lot better. Some of
Yes.
you folks have really stepped up your games to where, we used to get beat up pretty bad internationally, but now that's not the case. The USA is a force to be reckoned with. So that's EO particularly too. We've had some really great success in WAO, which is happening
Mhm.
as we speak. Talk to me about the physical regiment of Nimble and how do you keep this dog so healthy?
So while I do train my dogs, I don't believe I overtrain my dogs. I make our training sessions very specific to what I am looking to improve upon. And I also just keep things very short. And I think that helps a lot.
Hmm.
I also do condition her. We have a regimen of a conditioning program, and she is on a good dog food and supplements like 1 TDC. So I believe that's also helping keeping her in her top form.
That's right. You've been using one TDC for a long time now. How long has it been?
I think I started with Spice, probably after one of the early WAOs I took her to. I believe you were a sponsor. And so it's probably been at least 10 years.
Yeah, you've it's a long time. And Spice is going to be 15.
Yeah, just turned 15.
Yeah, wow, that's right. Just turned 15. I hear that because my dog's about to turn 15. And I do know that one TDC is, for senior dogs, it's a must. We know for athletic dogs, it's all about faster recovery, but for sure for the senior dogs, it's about being as comfortable as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If someone was thinking, because the truth is, you know, someone at your level with your athlete, you're doing everything you can to keep that dog in super shape.
Mhm.
If I was an average pet owner, what would you tell them about one TC and why they should use it?
Well, I still think it helps keep them in their best shape. I also think it does help with their teeth, which, according to my veterinary clients and friends, is always a problem with many, many dogs out there. So
It's
it's
true.
probably one of the few products that will help dogs on both aspects of their lives.
That's true. And you're right. Periodontal or gum health issues is actually, to your point, the number one problem dogs get and cats for that matter. And one TDC is the only product in the world that takes care of gums and the joints, hips and joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So it's very, very unique. And it is affordable enough to where, you can do all of that without having to buy a bazillion products. So it's a
Right.
good wellness product overall.
Absolutely.
Um, so what's next for you? So you've done something no one's ever done before at Westminster
Mhm.
with Nimble. You've won national championships. What's next on your I gotta get what's your next accomplishment that you're shooting for with Nimble?
Well, I have a couple other trials coming up that will help, but everything, even from the beginning of the year, everything I've been doing has pretty much been focused on doing well at the European Open this summer. So one of the reasons that I went to the UKI Invitational, I mean, I wanted to go because I knew it would be a very fun event, but I also wanted to go run some of Martin's courses because he is a judge at EO, and I was able to win both of the courses that he designed at the Invitational with Nimble. So that was very nice. I had, but just everything I'll go to is pretty much gearing up to help run the courses that I am going to need. So I'm trying to do as much ISC as I can before I leave for EO. Some of the bigger UKI events like the Invitational and a couple of classics. I'll go to the North Carolina and the New Jersey Classic, and just to be able to run some of the trickier courses to make sure that we can be able to go to England and be clean there.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that you're going to do very well.
I hope so.
I know you're working hard at it. And you mentioned the one TDC Invitational Day, which was the inauguration this year. We had a great time. How was it for you as a participant there?
I thought it was a wonderful event. It was very well run, as all of the UKI big events are. And I liked the surface very much. I liked the judges. I liked every single course I ran. So I really enjoyed the event, and I will hopefully be back next year.
I hope we'll see you for sure. Yeah, one TD is very proud to sponsor this invitational. We'll do that for a bit because, to your point, I think it's a great team. I think they do a really good job. And those courses you guys had were they're pretty tough.
They were great. I loved every single course, whether they went well or not. And my dogs did pretty well. Nimble missed a weave entry, but she was third at on the final. And Truant won biathlon, and I believe he won games. Nimble won games for sure. And I think Truant won games too. So I think that means they get to go to Gambler finals at the Open, and he gets to go to biathlon agility at the Open.
That's awesome. Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So one thing we didn't answer is what do you do for a living? Because I think some of the audience, some of them do, but people don't realize how much dog agility is part of your world.
I also teach agility, so I and do seminars and classes and private lessons, and I probably teach about 30 hours a week,
Wow.
so very full time. And then you add, of course, all the scheduling and everything else. So it probably is really more of 40 or 50 hours a week, unfortunately,
Plus you're
some
competing.
ways.
Right. So yeah, that's definitely your world. Cynthia, I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. We're very excited about the incredible success. What you've achieved at Westminster is, well, it's unsurpassed. You're the only one who's done it with the 12-inch dog. So you and Nimble are an incredible team, and we look forward to follow your journey. And hey, best of luck at the EO.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you.
Same here.